it's time for Catalog and Cocktails, your honest, no BS, non-salesy conversation about enterprise data management with all your favorite people and their drinks. I'm Tim Gasper, longtime data nerd product guy, joined by Juan Cicada. Hey, Juan.
Tim, how are you doing? It is a pleasure. It's taking a break in the middle of the day, listening to us. And the honest OBS, we are pre-recording. I think a lot of our episodes this season are going to be pre-recorded because this life gets really complicated and timing and all that stuff. I'm Juan Cicada. I'm the principal researcher now here at ServiceNow, at Data.World ServiceNow. And let's just hit the ground running because there's so much stuff. Today, we have the one and only Sanjeev Mohan. And he does not need any introduction. And if you don't know who he is, then I don't know where you've been living. Everybody has to know Sanjeev. I think Sanjeev is what I call the truly honest, no BS analyst. Sanjeev, it's such a pleasure and welcome back. It's you're on
Thank you
this.
so much.
How are you
I'm,
doing, my
I'm
friend?
so glad to be back because I love hanging out with the two of you. Any conference I go to, I go like looking, where's Tim, where's Juan? And then, every time we get together, it's a blast, the kind of discussions we have. So thank you for having me back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna discuss about trends and stuff, but let's kick it off with our tell and toast. What are you drinking? What do you want to toast about today? What are you drinking?
I am literally just having my trusted bottle of water and very boring, but that's what I'm having.
Water is fine. I actually have water too, but
If you had caught me earlier in the day, I had made a killer smoothie for myself, which had oat milk, cashews, date, tahini, chocolate, cocoa and chocolate nibs,
Yeah.
and a
that,
few other things.
You just throw it all in a blender and
there
Yes,
you go.
yep, that's what I
Nice.
do. Yeah.
Tim, what about you? What are you drinking today?
so it is a little bit earlier in the day than when I would drink a boozier cocktail. So I'm a little bit low proof right now. I'm drinking a Campari soda. So it's like a actually a cranberry raspberry soda. So nice and refreshing. What about
Okay.
you, Juan? What are you drinking? You drinking
Right.
anything?
It's making me feel guilty, but what the heck? Having a very boozy drink right now, but what it's just the new thing that I'm doing. It is two-part mezcal, one part liquor 43, and one part vermouth, sweet vermouth, and a little bit of bitters. This is just a sip, and it's my new thing.
You've got kind of like this classic liquor 43 drink now. You're just yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing it, and that's it. And let's toast to with Sanjeev. I wanted to be really what I love about Sanjeev is that he can go up and down the details, go into core details, and go up and then the strategy, see all these trends. So I want to really go cheers to Sanjeev for
Thank
really
you.
pushing the entire industry of like not just blah 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 at the high level, but we can go out to the details and see that. So cheers to that, Sanjeev.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Sanjeev.
Thank you so much.
All
By
right.
the way, since we last talked, I have now finished 4 years of running Sanchmo. So 4 years have literally flown by. It just seemed like yesterday.
Congratulations. I
Thank you.
remember when you were like, I'm taking the plunge, it's happening, we're
Yes.
doing it, and just
Yeah.
you've built such an amazing
Yeah.
organization and impact.
I called you guys because in my Gartner days, you used to update me on, at that time, data.world was a very different place, semantic web, partnership, pool party. And so I called you guys and I said, I'm going to do this. And you were like, why? And then here it is, 4 years. In fact, I am in the process of refreshing my website and I'm super excited to put a Sanchmo GPT on it. So literally, it's a RAG application that's going on my new website where people can ask any questions, but it only goes to my content. So
You cloned
nothing,
yourself now.
yeah.
You cloned yourself.
Does it talk like you too?
Actually, I haven't tried that. It's just text, but
All right.
could be.
Well, we got to so quick warm-up question here. Tim, you had a good warm-up question. What was it today?
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about trends today. So I wanted to ask Sanjeev, what's trending with you in the fashion department? Have you bought any interesting new shirts or coats? What's going on there?
Actually, I'm glad my wife is not around. She would be so mad because she keeps telling me, you need to refresh your wardrobe. And I'm like, why? I mean, it works for me. And so I have not. My kids tell me though the hot new trend is called red light.
Hmm.
Have
What's
you heard
that?
of red?
No.
Red light is some sort of, I haven't seen it. It's an anti-aging thing that you put on your face like a mask, and it helps you, look rejuvenated and younger. So
I have to look this up. Proud.
I've never
red
heard of
light.
that before. Am I too old
It's
now?
it's uh, it's a
That-
rage.
It's
Yeah.
all right. Let's dive in. Honest, no BS. What the heck are you tracking right now? Because it's like literally this is drinking from the fire hose, all the trends, everything that's happening, all the different companies that are doing things, all the mergers, consolidations, yeah. Just what are you tracking? What are the trends that you're seeing right now?
So one of the biggest trends is this whole concept of unification is now coming to fruition. For many years now, we've been saying that the number of companies that we have to deal with in our space is just not tenable. It's not sustainable. There's just too many. By the way, I'm preaching to the choir because data.world is now part of ServiceNow, which like 1 plus 1 equals 3 because ServiceNow can now have a context layer, a semantic layer they can trust. And then they can go places from there. So this is something that we are now seeing happen literally on daily basis. Fivetran versus Fivetran rumored to buy DBT. Neither party has confirmed it, but the news is out there. Salesforce buying Informatica, IBM buying data stacks, even acquiring smaller companies. Like why did Databricks buy Neon? Or why did Snowflake buy Crunchy Data? So what's happening is actually staggering because if you look at it, it's actually two polar opposite things that are happening at the same time. If you look at it from a deeper level, you see there is disaggregation where people are saying, why should I have metadata be built into my database? I want a separate metadata layer. I want a separate compute, of course, has been going on for many years, but not segregation of compute and store, but unbundling. Like I can use Spark for X, and I can use Pandas for Y, and I can use Starburst, Trino for something else. So that kind of disaggregation is happening. But at the same time, at a higher layer, there is aggregation happening in how companies want to buy products. So at a logical level, they want it unified. But at a physical level, it could be made of multiple pieces. It's just that people don't want to deal with that. They want
Hmm.
they want one place to go, so it's aggregated, but then there are multiple moving parts that are abstracted from the view.
How can we get both kind of disaggregation and
Yeah.
unification at the same time? Like, why do you think the dynamics are kind of working that way?
So, for example, Microsoft Fabric is a great example to look at. Microsoft Fabric is a logically integrated single endpoint for you to do any of your batch workload, streaming, real-time analytics. So it's one place you go. But behind the systems, it has Azure Data Factory, it has Synapse, it has Azure Data Bricks, and a number of like event hubs and all of those things. So while those pieces are disaggregated, you don't, as a business user, you don't see it. So you get a single pane of glass with a drop down on your left hand side, a menu that says, now I want to go ingest my data. Now I want to do data quality. Now I want observability or enrichment or data integration. Now I want to run reports. So it's all being driven from a single pane of glass, but behind the scenes, it could be an open system where the data is sitting on an object store, Parquet files with Iceberg or Delta on top, and I am using Dremio to do something for one and Databricks for something else.
So the platform still has, so in that sense, it's not like we're completely rejecting the componentization that happened
Yeah,
from the sort of modern data stack, right?
correct.
That's happened, and each of these pieces, there's a best of breed piece, but
Yeah.
now it's about stitching it all together into a more cohesive experience, a
Yes,
more well
correct.
integrated experience, and ideally less
Yeah.
vendors to deal with, right?
Yes. Yep. I mean, that's why you see Five Trend. Again, I'm just picking on them because they've been in news a lot. They bought sensors to do reverse ETL because they already do ingestion. They're like, why should a business have to go to a different tool? This is like I drive my Toyota to go to do my groceries and a Honda to come back to my home. Right? Why have two different? You don't have two different cars, right? So, and I was sort of like using common car brands here, not fancy cars. Uh, if I had more money, I would have said I drove my Lamborghini to to the
And your
to Whole
Ferrari home,
Foods
right?
and a Ferrari to come back. But my point is that from a customer's point of view, they don't want too many different vendors because of one problem that we have not solved. And by the way, this is something that really surprises me is we've never had a common metadata standard. We have standardized on storage formats, file formats. We standardize on table formats. We standardize on SQL and so many other standardizations, Spark, but for metadata, when you have X number of disparate tools, each tool has its own metadata format. So if I'm an end user, now I have to somehow figure out that in my pipeline, how do I get DBT semantic to map up with Looker semantics and underneath AWS pieces. So that's what these data fabrics are trying to solve.
So, but the because this lack of metadata interoperability has always been there. Will we just will the are the incentives finally there or not? It's just
I,
going to be the one platform, so then each platform player will be making their own integrations, and therefore it's like you don't need the metadata interoperability because we already work great with A, B, and C, so you have to go worry about that.
so
Versus,
I,
I don't know.
One, I think now there is some serious urgency in solving this, and the reason is not because of data. If we left things to the data people, they won't. Life would go on as normal. But businesses are now saying that what if I am creating an AI application and I want to be able to evaluate. I want to use maybe Claude for coding, and I want to use Gemini for translation, and maybe for reasoning, I want to use Grok 4 or I want to use DeepSeek because my cost goes down. So when I have an opportunity to plug and play at a higher level, but then I get stuck because there is no common metadata. And so, how do I build my context layer? So, AI is forcing us to come up with some standards. And in fact, like it always happens, from no standards, we've gone to multiple standards now. So there's a new one, Open Semantic Interchange that just got announced a few weeks ago. And but then you've got Snowflake, Salesforce, and a few companies in that camp. And then you've got Databricks, Microsoft, at scale in a different camp. So we have a new semantic war that's breaking out.
Okay. And I think you just said something that it's a good nudge on folks. You said if you leave it to the data people, they wouldn't do it, right? So then
Yeah.
who are the people who should be doing this if it's not the data people? But by the way, I agree with you. Like this is what I've been trying to talking about for the last 2 decades of my life. Is like we need to have these standards, which a lot of them already exist, and people are reinventing the wheel on them. But I think we're realizing that what we need is more about the knowledge, right? The understanding
Yeah.
of your business or your systems. That's a driving it. So, but who should be the folks if you're saying if it were up to the data people, they wouldn't be doing it.
Like if you, I mean, I was a DBA when I started my career. I used to spend all my time tuning Oracle databases, and I knew every single parameter in init.aura. And till businesses came down hard and said, this is not a good use of our skills. You should be focused ex, uh, on expanding our knowledge on how to use Oracle to solve higher order business problems, data people were happy with building data models, building data pipelines, writing PL SQL, stored procedures. So, but that is incongruent with where business wants to be. Business wants us, IT people, to tell which new technology will give them competitive differentiation, some advantage. And as businesses are getting more savvy and they understand what technology people are doing, and they're saying that no, this is what AWS calls undifferentiated heavy lifting. Let the vendor do it. Let's automate this stuff so you guys are freed up to go try a new machine learning, data science algorithm that will tell us which customers may be at the danger of churning. So in some ways, businesses are doing us IT people a favor by bringing us to the table and aligning us to the business strategic goals rather than IT heavy lifting, busy work.
Couldn't agree more. I think, Juan and I recently gave a talk at Big Data London, and we talked a lot about how the big step forward for data teams as more of this mundane work, this sort of
Yeah,
undifferentiated heavy lifting is getting automated, really, right?
correct,
That
correct.
this is going to allow more time and attention to really go
Yeah,
towards partnering with the business, focusing
right.
on how you're supporting and actually partnering, like not just subserving, right, but partnering on the OKRs and the business
Yeah.
drivers and creating tight operational feedback loops because just living in the land of the transforms and the stored procedures is not the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's so Tim, here's a funny thing. In the past, when I used to go to a conference and I would come back to my organization, they would say, okay, what are some of your lessons learned? I would say, well, I went to AWS reInvent. They announced Neptune, a new graph database. And the business people would just like look at me and go, okay, what's the point? Like, what does it do? But now tables have turned. Now, because business people are going to these conferences and saying, wait, there is a new model or agent that can do research and publishing. Why aren't we using it? So the IT people are finally realizing that they need to get ahead of technology and think like business. And I've heard both of you say this for years that nothing matters more than the business priorities, not the technology. Technology is a means to the end. So that's the journey that IT people are on.
And what are the other trends that we've been seeing? I want to highlight, see what you think. Is we live in this whole data and analytics space
Correct.
world where we bring in data, right? We transform
Yeah.
data, we build our data warehouses, lake
Yeah.
houses, right? Back to I mentioned tables, we build the dashboards, and the problems have become a ticketing system for building more dashboards and reports, and then but that's our world. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, and we're supposed to generate faster time to insights and help. But what does
Yeah.
that even mean? Like, you deliver the dashboard and you see that the insights or a machine learning model that here are your possible next churn customers. But okay, what's the next step? I think we stay there when the next step is really connect all of those insights, analysis, everything, connect it back to all the different business operational units, right?
Yeah.
Let it be IT, let it be sales, finance, HR, risk, compliance. But we don't like we finished our work and we're like, okay, we're done. You continue
Yeah.
when like so the rest of the business, like, no, what we
Mhm.
really need is to connect the dots all the way and to have that full feedback loop. I'm real. That's the message we've been pushing recently.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be able to connect analytics and operations. And I think people are starting to realize that, especially because you see, like, what recently, like even the OpenAI Dev Day and all that stuff is like they're now realizing they're pushing all these actions and workflows and stuff. So it's like they're
Yeah.
connecting, want to connect the entire dot. So that's another trend that I'm seeing now. I'm just curious to see
Yeah.
how
So
you.
I have a name for that trend, but let me lay out how the story about this new trend. I've done a lot of evaluation criteria for different pieces of the stack. In that, we used to say, how good is it? How good is elastic scalability? How good is performance? But more than performance, cost, because ROI, all of these things, functional capabilities, high availability, disaster recovery, deployment options, containerization, all these things we used to go through. But we missed the number one evaluation criteria is user experience, simplification. So what end users are saying, and by the way, there's so many times I talk to vendors, and they're like, "Why is my technology not catching fire? Because I have the best technology." And I tell them, just because you have best technology does not mean people will come. There's this notion from the movie Field of Dreams: build it and they will come. But it does not work in IT. No one's going to come to you if you don't have an easy way for them to come. So natural language is now that enabler which we never had. So whether it is you're customizing a product through YAML file, YAML is a great open standard and it's very easy. But why should I create a YAML file? I'm a business person. I want to be able to speak or put my prompts, and it should then go configure the product for me. Even dashboards, reports. Why should I go learn a BI tool and then start creating all of these charts when I can go to my chat GPT or Gemini or whatever it may be, or Claude, and I can say, go look at my spreadsheet or my 10K and build me a chart with these columns, and it does it for you. So this is in fact, this trend can really disintermediate a lot of uh, point solutions, because in fact, this is such a massive thing. I'm not kidding you. What Chat GPT is doing is I can order my ride. I don't need to go to Uber. I can go. I can say, I can ask a question like, Chat GPT. Tim wants to know what are the latest trends in men's fashion for dress shirts. And it says, oh, by the way, here are the dress shirts. Would you like me to buy one? And I'm like, yeah, sure. My size is so and so, and I want it in this color. And it says, okay, done. So in what happened behind the scenes is all like this whole MCP server, agent to agent, commerce platform, protocols, all these things are being pushed down. And so the big thing that is happening is that all the way up to 2025 we have built our systems. How Who were the users of data.world? They were human beings. Who are the users of data.world starting 2026? Agents. So everything that you built, it's like, it doesn't matter like how much time was spent in user experience is slowly going to decrease as agents start taking over. Natural language becomes our interface, and that's a huge trend.
The saying I hear is like AI is the new UI, right? So we're going from like a user experience to your
Correct.
AI experience. Um, what
Yeah.
does agent experience then mean? I'm asking myself now. Like how, because you can imagine these agents will then say, will I prefer this system to gather things or this system? Like, I mean, now we're entering a new era of like,
Well, and is MCP and A2A it? Like, is have we solved it and that's all we
No.
need?
No, no, not at all. Not even close. I was on a call just before this with Google. So they are adding into A2A agent identity. Who is the agent? On whose behalf? So I gave a frivolous example of buying a shirt. But what if I'm asking for information that's proprietary? On whose behalf is the agent acting, and what permissions does that agent have? That's a brand new piece that in fact, we haven't really figured it out. And how does this agent interact with Okta and
Does
or
the agent have a single sign-on itself, right? So now
yes,
we're, yeah.
yes, yeah,
I think another trend. Well, I mean, agents. This is obviously this is now here. It's even organizationally. I think we talk about individual contributors and who are managers. I think effectively everybody's going to become a manager because
yeah,
they're going to be managing their own agent. So then the question is, then the amount of employees grows because you're talking about wait. So whenever we say, what do you mean by a customer? What do you mean by a well? What do you mean by an employee? Employees like you mean human employees or you mean agent employees?
yeah.
I'm sure we're going to be we both talk about how big is your organization? Well, we have 300 employees, but we have 10,000 agents or something like that. I think I mean, that's going to be something that I
Yeah.
expect to be coming soon. And then you realize, wait, how do I keep track of all these things? Like, do they have all I mean, the single sign-on, for example, and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be, I suspect that that's going to be one of the big, what's it called?
Yeah,
Pillars.
we are literally going to rewrite our entire software stack, in my opinion. However, having said that, who knows? Maybe by next year we are recording a podcast and saying, the agent thing didn't pan out because it was too complicated. There were just too many missing pieces, and we couldn't get the accuracy right. The data wasn't even there because agents are acting autonomously. So today, if I ask a question in ChatGPT and it hallucinates, I can laugh about it. I can put it on Twitter and everyone can have a laugh. But if it is a multi-agent system, and I was just writing my chapter on data quality, and in that I was writing that we look at data quality like missing values, duplicate values. But what if my data is pristine, but the network got overloaded? So the data didn't make it within 10 microseconds, it came in 100 microseconds, but my agent acted upon it in the meantime. Now the agent had no idea that there was a network slowdown, so my data is arriving late, but it made a decision. So it has now gone. And this second agent is going to call third agent and 10,000 more agents. What's going to happen because it made a decision on incomplete data, which looked pretty complete. Uh, so I'm just saying there are all these edge cases that need to be worked out.
So we in our goal to make things simpler,
Yeah.
we might actually be making things more complicated under the hood, and it's TBD on is this going to actually overcomplicate things or not. You kind of said we'll have to circle back in a year and see where did we get to.
Yeah, and Tim, I would say to some extent, every new technology has to jump through these hoops. Every
Mhm.
new, so given time, these problems will eventually get resolved.
Are you still worried about hallucinations? Is that something you're seeing still be? Because obviously a year and a half ago, everyone was talking about hallucinations. You need to fix it. We need to fix it, right? Do you still see a focus on that?
Uh, Absolutely. We're not really using the word hallucinations very much these days, but reliability is still a problem. We are a lot of 2025, if you look at the research papers, are focused on number one topic, which is evaluation, evaluation of results, evaluation of models, trying to see how accurate the outcomes are compared to expected outcomes. There's reinforcement learning with human feedback, all kinds of test time compute and post training work that's going on. You know what? A lot of those things can be avoided if you had good data to start with. That's my revelation of that. It's like we spent a whole year trying to do reinforcement learning. Why? Because we our data was crap. But if we had better data on which the models were trained, better data on which we did RAG, then we should not be spending humongous amount of time trying to do post-training evaluation, reinforcement learning
So a lot of,
techniques.
I mean, I'm sure you talked to a lot of people. The observation I have is there's still a lot of people out there who want a magic wand, right?
Yeah.
So they somehow expect the AI to also clean my data and do these things. And I think in my position has been like, no, you got to invest. You got to AI will help for on this stuff, but there's still some human involvement. There's still stuff we need to go figure out how to go scale and things. How much how many what is the kind of the breakdown of people or companies that you're seeing who are like realizing and actually investing in those foundations to go make their data AI ready and stuff versus others who are just like, nah, the magic will help and it will come and it will actually do this correctly for me, and guess what, it's probably not going to, but they're thinking about that. Do you see those two sides, or
So
one is more?
yeah, so one, I have this inner conflict a lot of times that I don't want to come across as being this techno optimist and say use AI and AI will fix this and AI will fix that. But when I go to my clients are like, well, you're not in the trenches like we are. And do you know how hard it is? And you're just making it sound like magically AI will solve all these problems. So it's not a magic wand. But what I'm trying, so what I try to tell customers is let's just look at the problem. It's not the first time we've woken up and said I need to cleanse my data. We've been trying to do it for 40 years and we haven't been successful. So how is it that magically we are telling people you better clean your data, otherwise your AI outcomes will be wrong? How are they going to solve a problem that they've been trying for 40 years? So sometimes people say, "Well, I'm not ready." So I'm like, "Well, that's also not the right answer." Because when will you be ready? 10 years from now? 5 years from now? By that time, your competition would have eaten you for lunch.
What
So
about the companies that say like, oh, we'll just focus on the low-hanging fruit, the stuff that doesn't really require the AI-ready data?
and I think as a stepping stone, that's fine. They should use AI to craft their emails, but they're not going to get any RO. I mean, they will
What's the
get some
incremental
benefit.
value that you're getting, right?
Yeah, the value is so low that uh, it's not a good strategy. It's a good learning step, and 100% they should do it, but then they need to keep maturing and going up the ladder. So one, what I tell people is, if your traditional ways of doing data quality have not been successful, it is time to use AI to clean your data. Now, it's a chicken and egg problem because I'm saying use AI to clean the data and then use AI to get inference from that data, insights from that data, right? So it's nothing is like there's no manual that says step one, step two, step three, and then is nirvana. You just have to use AI to find anomalies that the current way of rule based is not able to find, and then fix that. Then Tim, go to what you were saying, low hanging fruit, and say now I'm going to see a simple, not a mission critical use case, a simple use case of uh, identifying duplicate customers in my record because I'm counting them twice, but I don't even know the so now I can cross check it. So but then once I achieve that, then I say, okay, now next thing is a more complicated use case, and then a more complicated use case. So it's just like a maturity model, but use AI to cleanse your data. Don't wait for one fine day when your data is clean. Your data may never be clean, and it is fine. I mean, just as long as you are aware that you have 85% accuracy, you can add that into your sort of your output. Like in a data contract, you can say this is the cleanliness or data quality score I have. So not everything can be 100%. That I think that pursuit may leave you just munging with data and not and missing the big picture with AI.
I think that's also a huge important point there that we got to set the right expectations and the
Yeah,
expectations cannot be perfect around that. Okay.
yes.
All right, we've hit a bunch of trends. I mean, we're taking our notes and stuff. What else? What else? What else? What else are you seeing?
So the other thing that happened with me was within a month's time, I made two trips to China.
Hmm.
And that literally, it's an eye opener. Uh, when you go there, you see how technologically advanced uh, China is. I just feel that, we are in this trade war, all kinds of political war that's going on, but the the level of time or interest that people are spending on AI, and not just AI, by the way, it is electric vehicles, it's space technology, it's new drug discovery, uh, along with new models and stuff like that. So I think there's something to learn from what's happening in China and apply that rigor in the US.
So what are those things that we that the world should be learning from China?
Less talk and more work. In the US we spend so much time bravado and showing, oh, I did this, I did that. There's so many wars going on between all these companies and lawsuits galore. uh, China doesn't have, being a dictatorship, they're not allowed to do a lot of these things, so they literally just focus on technology. And I'm not sure if you can put this in the podcast, but I'm just saying that.
Honest, no BS. But I think the whole the takeaway of like let's talk more work, that is
Yeah,
something valid.
yeah,
Okay, that's it.
I'm now sweating.
This is a
I
real trend.
am.
I know people are talking a lot about China and what they're doing from a tech perspective, and we've seen
Yeah,
DeepSeek and some of the things that are coming out. Obviously, they're trying to make
yeah,
chips and things like that. So it sounds like one mega trend that you just see here is that China's not going away. This is going to be a very big thing as we go forward. China and US and Europe all trying to figure out their place in
right.
in in the AI picture.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff we are doing in the US is financial engineering.
Mhm.
And innovation happens by builders, not by litigators and all these financial shenanigans. Like, I will sell you, I will invest X $100 billion in you, and then you buy my chips, and then I'll go to this data center, and the money is just moving around in a circular fashion. And then the government will put 500 billion in Stargate, and no one has seen that money. They don't even have the revenue. I'm talking about OpenAI of the world. They don't even have the money to spend 300 billion, but they have signed a $300 billion contract. I mean, their revenue is amazing. It's 2 billion or 4 billion now, which is nothing to laugh about. It's super impressive, and I think it'll be a $1 trillion company, personally, the way things are going. But you don't have 300 billion that you have just promised somebody, but you have, and that company. So this is what I'm saying, that we just spend a lot of time at this optics level, and that just spend takes away so much of everyone's time every day, just following all this news that's going on. So
Yeah. Let's actually start building that data center, right? Like put action at it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and even like, where will you build the data center? Where will the land, energy, power come from? Do we even have it? Like, does it have to be in the US? Can it not be in Canada or someplace with a lot of hydroelectric power? And so there's a lot of stuff, nuclear versus not nuclear. So anyway, so we're going down a rat hole here.
what would you say is the trend here? Like, do you think the trend is that essentially we're going to have to solve this problem. Like energy, I think is a very interesting question, right? Because obviously we're going to need incredible amounts of energy to power this
Yep.
infrastructure. But,
Hmm.
we're very hesitant in the US about nuclear energy. Green energy has its ups and downs, in terms of solar and things like that. Like obviously this is going to become, I don't know. I don't know how to translate it into a trend. It's an issue that we're going to have to solve.
Yep.
Ah,
And China is building atomic power plant, nuclear power plants all over. Saudi Arabia is leveraging its solar and oil. So the trend here basically is that we're going into a very complicated geo-distributed world that we will have to live in, and we will have to partner with all of these people rather than build walls.
Yeah, agreed. So I think so. There's obviously some big macro trends happening here. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about like last time we chatted and had you on the show. I think that that was when data mesh was becoming very, very
Yeah.
popular. And I'm kind of curious to now come back to that a little bit. And I'm
Mhm.
wondering, Sanjeev, like, what's the trend that you're seeing there, right? Do you
Or,
still are people still passionate about data mesh? Obviously, things like data contracts and data products seem to have a lot of momentum behind them. What
or
trends are you seeing here? And yeah, Juan.
to add to this is if you go back on the trends that you were what we were talking about 2, 3, 4 years ago, what is actually stuck and is actually kind of like surviving the test of time of mid impact versus it was just hype and blah blah blah.
it's so interesting you asked that question because I'm very close to the data products community. I think amongst all of these things, data products is one that has resonated the most. And I love the concept of data products. I wrote the book called Data Products for Dummies. The first question people get after they read my book is, so what exactly is a data product? I'm
After they
like,
read
wait,
it.
you just read the book. So this is a problem. It's a huge problem, and this is the first time I'm on a public show trying to address it because I may be hugely a big fan of data products, but if the business people cannot visualize and understand it, we are going to struggle. And I think data product companies have found that the hard way. They thought, how can it's just so obvious. But and by the way, Juan, I've heard you say this so many times on different shows. Business people want their problem solved. They don't care what you call it. You call it data product, data mesh, or data something else. They're least bothered with modern data stack or whatever label we put. So we need to understand this is something I call tyranny of jargons, where I come up with a new jargon. I see this almost on daily basis. I talk to some vendor will tell me I have come up with this new concept called adaptive transformational product. And I'm like, you'll spend all your time trying to explain what it is. In the meantime, you could be spending that time solving the problem. In fact, in 2022, I did a session for Data.World's conference where I had a slide with 5 or 6 different names for a catalog. One of them was yours. And I know Data.World was like, can you not include that? I'm like, nope, it's going in. But I don't even remember. It was like adaptive, intelligent, scalable. Actually, they all started with letter A, from what I remember. So businesses do not care about labels. They just want to know, I have a problem, how quickly can you solve it, and do I get value out of it? We fixate on cost, the cost of tokens, the cost of AI. They don't care about cost. If there's value, who cares about cost? If you say that token usage is going to go up through agentic, yes, but what is the value you're getting? If you're getting 10x the value, then so what if the token cost has doubled because you still 8x ahead? So,
It's hilarious. I'm writing here in my notes, and it's what trend has survived? It's like yeah, but the data products. But what does it? but what does it still mean? But a trend that survive is that we still like to make up words, but make up the tyranny of the jargon.
And some of and some of the fault lies with my profession because analyst firms like to create words, and then vendors are always looking for a category. So what category do I belong in? And then they come up with a new category. I get on a call and they say, "Here's the category I'm in." I'm like, "Okay, great. Who else is in this category?" And so nobody. We're the only ones who can do this. I'm like, "Do you realize how dangerous your statement is? You're the only one. Who's going to support you? How are you going to go against the tide if you're the only one? You need a space with a lot of competition. Otherwise, you'll be a single person going against the tide."
Yeah, being a market of one usually means that you're a market for nobody.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Well, before we go do our lightning round and takeaways, any final trend that we missed you wanted to call out?
No, I think that's good. We've covered
We cover,
quite a few.
we
Yeah.
even covered China and politics a little bit here. So yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do our lightning round here. So I'll kick it off. Question number one. So just quick yes or no, a little bit of context here. Uh, so we're in a unification consolidation trend right now. How long do you think this will last?
I would say maybe 2 years because it's a pendulum, right? It'll shift
Yep.
again. So 2 years.
All right.
All right, second question. So we kind of talked about how AI is becoming the new UI and the importance of the simplicity, natural language. Do you think that it will fully replace UI, particularly natural language?
No, absolutely not. They say dashboards are dead. Really, are dashboards dead? Like, if I'm driving down, speeding on a freeway, and a cop pulls me over, I, I'm like, sorry, but the dashboards are dead. I asked ChatGPT what speed I was driving at. You need dashboards for something that is constantly being used, and you need AI for exploration. So I do not believe that dashboards are dead. They will stay alive, but it'll be like different use cases. It won't be
Yeah, for the
dashboard for
right thing.
everything.
Yeah, I love that example. That's a really good one. I just imagined you driving your car, getting
Yeah,
pulled over, and you're like, ChatGPT, how fast was I going?
yeah. I mean, you look at your dashboard, because that's what you do. It's a constant thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, next question. So you mentioned metadata standards, a semantic interchange. Like there's things like, I mean, we have iceberg and all that's taken off for like data lake interchange. Do you think that we'll actually get to this common semantic metadata interchange interoperability standard?
I think so. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, like, we've had Iceberg, Delta, Hoodie, Paimon, but we've now come up with a way by which at least Delta and Iceberg are in sync. So, yeah, I see that.
Hmm. And then last question. This one's going to be a little open-ended. AI agents are obviously going to help with a lot of the grunt work around data as we go forward. Is there a particular data discipline, like a part of the data management landscape, where you think it will be most impacted by AI agents?
I think the work that administrators, DBAs like myself did, by the way, that's already happening. AI and OI, self-tuning, self-healing, self-replicating, all those things that were already in motion will now get even better because if AI is continuously monitoring the usage patterns and things like that, it can like it can shard my databases automatically with me having to put here's my sharding pattern partitioning key. It should just do it for itself. So that's performance tuning, high availability, backup recovery, all that. I think the back end of the database, the fleet management is going to get automated.
All
Nice.
right. Takeaway time. Tim,
All
take
right.
us through takeaways. Here we go.
Takeaways. So we started off asking you, honest no BS, what are the trends? What's happening? And you started off by saying that unification is really coming to fruition. We came from sort of this modern data stack kind of distributed best of breed kind of approach. And what we're really seeing is that companies want to have less vendors that they're interacting with. There's a disaggregation of particular functions, which is one of the nice things that have come out of this sort of modern data and distributed movement. But you're seeing aggregated experiences to actually unify it and put it under that single pane of glass that you talked about. And you can see that with this with all sorts of trends that are happening in the industry right now, from Fivetran rumors merging with DBT, Salesforce with Informatica, ServiceNow with Data.World, and so on, right? So there's all these things that are happening. But you said that we don't have a common metadata standard, right? And there's some movement around that now with the open semantic interchange that Snowflake announced recently. Obviously, from Juan and myself, we're extremely passionate about RDF and open standards from W3C. So we see this momentum now that's happening around that, which I think is very exciting. There's urgency around figuring out common semantics is something that you mentioned. We're moving away from just focusing on the transformations and the stored procedures and moving more towards partnering with the business, operationalizing what we're doing from a data perspective, moving away from people doing all this heavy lifting and this undifferentiated heavy lifting being something that's more done by the AI agents, right? And so semantics is becoming more important. We know it's something that AI needs, and tech people are needing to think a little bit more like the business. Technology is just the means to the end. And AI is the big forcing function here. So I thought those were some very interesting trends that you noted. Juan, what about you? What were the big trends that you heard from Sanjeev?
Yeah, so we have end users are asking always for the focus of user experience and simplicity. I mean, that's why sometimes these tools don't take off, and it's about adoption. Now we're seeing the whole trend of like natural language interfaces and user experience is becoming more of that AI experience. So realizing that before the users were humans, but now the users are going to be agents. So we need to truly understand what is that agent experience. And we have these protocols like MCP and ATA, but that's not enough, right? There's things like what is the identity of an agent? Who is it? What permissions do they have? How does it interact with other services? Are they allowed to go do that and so forth? That means that we will be rewriting our software stack. Um, but maybe, I don't know, this is something let's circle back in this in a year and see where things are heading towards. Hallucinations was that big trend kind of a couple of years ago, and it continues to be an issue. Probably not the same word, but it's the focus of like, is it reliable? What is evaluations that are being done? And it's interesting that we kind of do all these techniques, really reinforcement learning with human feedback, right? And post-training stuff, but a lot of that could be addressed if you're solved with better data. But also it's kind of a chicken egg because we like, hey, cleaning our data, having better foundations, like that's a problem we've been trying to go solve for 40 years. We won't be solving it the same way we've been trying to go solve it. This is why we also need AI to be able to help with these problems. So you want to be able to use AI to go help you kind of get your data AI ready too. So it's going to be at the end of the day, it's a combination of the deterministic and agentic AI approaches to go do that. But also we need to set the right expectations that things will never be 100%, and that's fine. So we actually need to be able to be explicit about that and set the right expectations. Um, we talked about China and other kind of the world situations, complicated world we live in, right? And good segment to go into, but my immediate takeaway there is less talk, more work. And then finally, what trends have survived over the last couple of years? I think one you said data products is a popular thing, but still people will finish your book and they're like, well, what is a data product? So it's funny that we know it's something important, but we still can't don't know how to explain it and so forth, which leads us to like something that continues to happen is this, as you call it, the tyranny of the jargon, right? We still are talking. I can go back to my other comment, more less talk, more work, but we still have talking a lot of words and not really solving the actual problem that people have. Vendors want to create their own categories, and hey, analysts sometimes contribute to this problem right there. But at the end of the day, if there is value, people are willing to pay for it. All
Yep.
right. How did we do? Anything we missed?
Amazing job, both of you. If I may give one example, actually, because we are recording this literally an hour after Google launched something called Gemini Enterprise. Because I want to come back to unification, because unification that I've talked about is at the data level, but it's happening even uh, throughout the whole stack. So, what is Gemini Enterprise? If I may just take a second to say, the users interact with natural language interfaces. There are models either built by Google or third party. There are agents built by end users, by Google, by third parties. There is a database that is providing the context for RAG. There is a governance layer that's doing all of that. So these are five different things that I just talked about. So interface, models, agents, database, and governance. So they've just collapsed it all into one product. That's unification.
I think that's
Yeah.
exciting to see these things come together because
Yeah.
that's it goes back to the point that you made that people want an integrated experience. They want a good experience, right? So
Yeah. Correct.
So to wrap up, three final questions we always ask. Put in
Yes.
the spot here.
Okay.
What's your advice about data, about life, whatever? Who should we invite next? And what resources do you follow?
Okay. So first of all, my advice to the community is don't be a skeptic. Just have an open mind. The world is not going to come to an end. We are not the most modern person that my voice matters. We are all students. We are all learning constantly, and the whole space is just changing. So be a student and learn what's going on, and just and move with the tide. Like I said, next year we could be recording this and be laughing at agents. So be it. If that happens, that happens. That's one. Who should we invite next? Uh, yeah, George's parent comes to my mind, JGP.
Yeah,
Has he been on
he
your?
has been. He has been on.
He's
It
been.
was, we did a
We
good we did a good almost hour and a half
it was
special
the
episode.
longest episode
I think
in the
longest ever
no
made.
history.
way.
We recorded it in my home bar, late night drinking wine. So that was a good one.
No way. Wow. Okay, so because we have similar circles. So I was thinking Joe Rice, but I'm sure Joe has been, is well known to you guys. So, okay, the last question,
What
what,
resources
Resources.
do you follow?
yeah, so I like some podcast channels. There's a guy called Wes Roth, Wesroth. He does a really good analysis. So every time there's a new uh, document that everyone's talking about, and it's just so hard to read and understand, uh, lo and behold, he does a podcast on that. So he has like 300,000 followers. So I listen to a lot of podcasts to learn from people. I subscribe to a bunch of newsletters, venture beats of the world. Uh, so that's where I learn what's going on in the market.
Perfect. That's great. This is why I always love asking these questions because you get to get that
Yeah,
broader overview.
Yeah, I
Sanjeev,
get to learn too.
yeah.
any final words, comments?
No, all good. Thank you.
I say thank you so much. It is always a pleasure. Always love learning so much from you and tapping into your brain to kind of get a visibility of what you're seeing. So I'm sure everybody listening here is going to really appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. Cheers.
Thank you
See
so
you
much.
Cheers,
Such a
Sanjeev.
pleasure.
next
Take care.
conference someplace
Thank you.
soon.
See you. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.